Today we've got an interesting half repair. Of course, we may not be able to do it, from Nigel, who's a radio ham friend of mine at Sheffield, and he does some repairs, and he's got stuck with this set. He's been able to sort the transmitter out. I think it's had quite a few problems. He's asked me for some advice one way or another, and he's got stuck with the receiver. So we'll have a look at this and see. That's a nice condition. And it's a real Japan one, so yes, you can imagine that's why he wants to sort it out. So he's got very, very deaf receiver, I think he said. So we'll plug it into the test equipment. No, that's not. I'll have to get a Cybernet mic. Just undo myself from that DNT handheld we did yesterday. I was very, very surprised when we did the field test with mine and found out how well it actually works, which was astonishing. I can't even see which is extension speaker and which is PA. We'll guess. Power. So we're on. Plus, plug the test equipment in. Don't think he's got any bar graph, and if he hasn't got a bar graph, it's going to be the BA656 bar graph chip, which would be a real classic of what happens when you reverse polarity these. So I'll put the signal generator on channel 20 because we were doing CPT yesterday. Okay, so we're on 2779125 on the signal generator, and we'll switch the signal generator on. Well, that's interesting. It is showing that it's receiving it. Oh yeah, that's at full whack. Yeah. Now we can't hear anything, so is that because I'm in the wrong socket? I know we're not going to hear much because I've got the mic plugged in. Okay. Right, I'll go and get a mic. Yes, so that's S9, 100 microvolts, and as you can hear, that's pretty scratchy. Oh, that's RF gain to full. That's 10 microvolts. I wonder if it's just out of alignment and he's just not been quite able to do that. So I'll put a really big signal on it and we'll look at our oscilloscope. Do you know what? I'm going to check it's on frequency first. I've only put the test equipment on a few minutes ago. As long as it's somewhere near. 7910. Just pop that up a bit. We can always pop it back down. I just don't want to set the receiver lopsided. That will do for that. Out of interest, what power's it doing? 3 point something. I will look into that. It's got the proper ballast resistor in. Right, so back to the thing in question. We'll go back to the oscilloscope. Put a little bit more volume on. Rather than adjust the oscilloscope, I'd rather adjust the radio. And so we'll just check the detector. It's not that one, it must be that one. Now that IC is getting hot. So here we go with the SINAD meter. Let's drop the signal a bit more. I'll put the biggest signal on for these next IF ones. Now that's not having an effect. You know what? I think with it being on the deaf side and that not having any effect, I think we've got a I think we've got a broken filter. I really do. We're listening to 10 microvolts, and of course this signal should be 1 microvolt. So unless we've got a low gain transistor somewhere, I think it's that filter. I think the clue is it's just making no effect. Let's look closely at the SINAD meter while I adjust it. It's nothing, is it? So I'll condescend to take the speaker off after all this time. So I'll cut the power, mind you, it's dropped itself off, and I'll unsolder that filter. I've got my on the time because I need to go and do one of my elderly parishioners for shopping. She's the one who has me go to Marks and Spencer's, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why does she want to spend so much on... I don't know. She gets... do you know what all I'm going to get her? I'm going to get her a packet of dates. I'm going to get her a copy of the Radio Times. And I'm going to get her a packet of tomatoes. And you know, that's normally all she has on a Tuesday. There's some banking which I have to do, so that's fair enough. But why do I have to go to Marks and flipping Spencer's for that? And those few items will come to £12 something or other. I don't get it. But then as a Yorkshireman, you know, I just try and get things at a good price, don't I? You know, it's how it works. If I was on a different bench where there was more tools for getting parts out, this is an alignment bench, as I keep saying. I probably won't get this out in one piece, so I hope he doesn't want it back. Perhaps I've not even unsoldered it all. I'm not even sure which pin's which. Perhaps that's one. I don't think that's one, but we'll just do it anyway. We'll soon have unsoldered the whole of the bottom of the radio. So it has come out in one piece. And I can't hear anything rattling around. I'll just recover one off a scrap set. So it's an HT. And that's an HT which has been a Midland porter pack at some time in its life. I think that could be it. It's not as fun to put in with all that wiring there. I think we've got these new, but you know, well, we've got a used one, makes it cheaper for the customer. And I want to try and look after him. That wasn't anything to do with it, that's got no connection. We should have 4 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something I inadvertently unsoldered. Has that track got continuity? It's a bit that track's a bit 10-1. You know, I came to two-way radio through business two-way radio. And then in '79 I became a licensed amateur, and then of course CB happened in '81, and so I've kind of gone the commercial route. And I love some of the CB phrases. I mean, square wheeled, and something I'll drop in beautifully on amateur radio, and then people think you're some ex-CBer. No. Right, see what happens now, and then we'll go. Oh yeah, we pulled off the power connector, didn't we? Tell you what, we'll put that one on the inside and that one on the outside. So now it's actually worse. That's interesting. So it still has no effect. I'm not sure I like chips in sockets, but you know, hey, if that's what he wants to do, that's how it is. So I'll go and do this job, and we'll come back and we'll look deeper into that, at what's happening in the circuit diagram. But I do suspect there's something wrong around the 455 IF. So what I've discovered is we've got a Toyocom 10M1 880, it looks like. Well, I don't think that's correct for 10.695. So someone's put a crystal filter in. I'll just have a look with a scrap chassis as to whether they've changed that resistor down there. I reckon they have. So we should have 1K there. And we should have, I think it's 1.5K there. Oh, it is, it is. No, I just think they've put a crystal filter in and hope for the best. And it doesn't work like that. They certainly got rid of the bleed over, didn't they? Because they got rid of the sensitivity. I mean, these sets tend to be very sensitive. Just hope it doesn't fall out whilst we solder it, otherwise I'd have to hold it with my finger. And I'm sure the owner wouldn't have spotted that that was the wrong part, because unless you're handling them all the time. Okay, so changing the filter, and we've got normal sensitivity. So what have we actually got? Well, there's 12. I think we can change scales. Got 0.27 microvolts. 0.27. Good. Right, we'll better just check the receive alignment things. So we'll put S9 on the test set. So 100 microvolts, and we want it to read S9 on the meter. And I just have to remember which one's the meter one. And I think that's that one. So we'll just advance the signal generator. So I want it to be able to do plus 30. So I just need to just pop that up a fraction so that it shows plus 30. Like that. Go back to S9 because they're a bit want really not quite there. So just got it not on. That's it. That's where we want it. Let's just check his transmit meter. That's full whack. What power's it doing? Oh, 3.8 watts, something like that. Just as a courtesy, we'll just run through the transmit. I'm sure he's spot on this. It doesn't look like it's had the coil messes in it. You know what, I can't shift that. Just give it another heat up. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Just pop it on frequency a bit better. Now the test set's warmed up. It won't quite go, but it's within spec. So I just want to see at what power input the radio does 4 watts. So I'm going to adjust the power supply. We're at 13.8 at the moment. That's 4 watts. Sorry, I'm not showing you these things. That's 4 watts. And that's at 14.5 volts. So in a car like our Leaf, which charges at 14.4 volts, then this radio would be doing a full 4 watts. So that's fair enough. We'll just pop it back down to 13.8. So not too scary at all. He's set the VCO, so we don't need to do any of that. And I'm sure he's got it right. So I'll just check deviation. Now we're on CPT, so I'll have to retune this. 1, 2, wallow, 1, 2, wallow. Very marginally high, but it's wallow 2.6. Just as a courtesy, I'll just pop it down a fraction. Wallow. It's actually got wax on it, so I'm not going to move it. Wallow. Peaking at about 2.6, and it should be 2.5, but that's really splitting hairs. So we've got some lovely sensitivity there. So let's put the squelch into operation. So it's full squelch. We'll go back to the attenuator controls. 10, 30, 100. It should open at that. It's never opening at all, so that's no good to us. That's it. 100 microvolts and it's opening. So we'll look at the squelch sensitivity at the other end of the scale. So I'm going to turn the squelch right down. Turn the signal generator off. Set the squelch to threshold. Switch the signal generator on and we're straight in. It's coming in at 0.31 of a microvolt. It's leaving it to 0.15 of a microvolt. So there we are. Job's a good one. I know we've all seen the Amstrad 901s before, but it's a repair. It's come in. We've got a Midland 4001 coming by hand today. Chappie came over from the far side of Leicester, so he's come 50 miles. Brought his much loved Midland 4001. Another chap was a radio ham. I think there's some interest in going back to what was their roots in two-way radio. So they always work, don't they? Yeah, Midland 4001s. They all that Maxon chassis. It's not the last word in technology, but they're competent and they're reliable. So I'll unpower this. And we'll screw it back together. Now, where did I put the customer's lid? That's a bit loose. If you had this mobile and went over a bump, there's the danger. There we go. That's better. In fact, going a bit dodgy. I'm just going to make sure that speaker works. We'll unplug our extension speaker and we'll connect up his. So had the socket changed on this to the type used on the back of a communicator NI440. Seems to work. You can have that stupid filter back. Yes, your bleed over problem's cured. Just make the radio deaf. Can we find any screws on here? That's the next thing. Found one. I'm not going to charge him anything for those used parts. He's supplied us with stuff in the past at the right price, and you know, known him some time. And living in Yorkshire, he gets a living in Yorkshire discount, eh? There we go. So pop that on the aerial. Well, no, Roger. Yeah, I got a good comment from one of the viewers, and Mark wrote, oh, I've knocked the power off. He says, it turns out that there's discussions on other mediums that CB is too congested to use. Well, how can it be too congested to use? We drove through London a couple of years ago. We had the radio on scan, and the entire journey through London, it picked up one conversation. I'm here 35 miles from the nearest city, and if everybody was on 19 with a burner, doing 100 watts illegally, yeah, we do hear them occasionally, but he's absolutely right. It would all be romping through. It's 5:25, people will be having their tea. I can go through these 40 channels. This is a very sensitive set, and so was the Barracuda GT868 I did the other day. And we heard a few conversations, and we would similarly hear conversations on this. But there can't be anybody chatting within 35 miles, because we'd pick them up. If I drove out to Nottingham 35 miles, I would be able to talk to our mobile. So there you go. So it can't be as congested as people are making out on these other mediums, and that was a very valid point. Anyway, we're going to do an on-the-air test with Mr. Chippy later, and thanks for watching the Amstrad 901 1981 genuine made in Japan version.